Hi, I'm Martyn and this is a Profit on Purpose interview with Chris Wright, who's the Chief Executive of Catch-22. Thank you very much for joining me today, Chris.
Pleasure, Martyn.
So, Catch-22, your 60 million turnover, I often think that you're probably the biggest charity that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's a number of reasons really. Catch-22 was established in 2008 following a merger between two organisations. One, Rayner, which is a very illustrious organisation which dates its foundations back to the late 18th century, and a newer organisation, Crime Concern, which was established in the 1980s. But primarily the reason people probably don't know of us is because we're not an organisation which seeks public donations. People are very happy if they want to give us some, that's great. But generally speaking, we win and operate in public service markets, and so we deliver services on behalf of government, local government, government agencies and so forth. So hopefully we're well known within those markets, but not necessarily to the general public.
Tell me a little bit about your experience with some of those bigger public sector contracts.
I took over 4 years ago, and I think at that point the organisation was a little bit confused in its identity. So it was presenting itself very much as a charity, which we are, and we're very proud of being a charity. But it was failing to recognise the only reason we existed was because we won work from government and government agencies. And so I think we just needed to call a spade and decide what we were. And at that point we grabbed hold of this idea that we were a social business, i.e. we were an organisation which won work from government and its agencies, but we were there to deliver social outcomes to improve the lives of those we work with. The future of public services is up for discussion, and I think will become more marketised, and organisations with a social purpose, a social mission, have a very serious and important role to play in that delivery.
And what have you found so far in terms of the biggest challenges that you've faced?
Our ambition currently exceeds the capability of the market. The market isn't quite there yet. So we operate in 4 particular areas: education, children's social care, justice and employability. So the markets are starting to emerge, and employability is clearly there. In education, with the onset of multi-academy trusts and academisation is starting to be there. Children's social care, much less so. And in justice, we saw last year the outsourcing of a significant proportion of the probation service.
And what was your experience of that?
It was mixed. When government started to talk about opening up the probation service to competition, we were very interested. We'd had an interesting partnership over the last few years with a large publicly quoted outsourcing company, and we'd been running some good criminal justice services with them, so we had a set of credentials. It so happened that the partnership we had wasn't able to progress to beyond to the PQQ stage, but at that point the Ministry of Justice was very keen for us to participate in the competition, and we were encouraged to do so. So we did. We invested quite a lot of money in it, and ultimately we didn't win, but neither did any of the 4 social sector organisations that primed, and I think that was largely as a consequence that there was a dissonance between the policy intent and policy rhetoric and the reality of government commercial procurement process, which ultimately wanted to shift all the risk to the provider, and clearly if you haven't got a very large balance sheet, it's very difficult to carry that risk.
So I've found that there are probably 3 areas that people need to be really clear on if they're going into this kind of... First is understanding exactly what it is that you bring that's unique or special. The second thing is to have a really good relationship with the actual buyer, the person that's going to be making those decisions, so that you understand deeply what they need and they actually understand the capabilities that you bring. And I think the third thing, the most important thing from my experience, is the willingness and readiness to actually walk away, particularly if the risks are being all pushed onto you and it doesn't stack up for you.
I think they're interesting tests, and to answer the first test, we believe that we have an evidence base and a method, a theory of change, which is attractive to the customer, in this case the Ministry of Justice. We thought we'd built a very good relationship with the Ministry of Justice, one because we'd been delivering to them results which had actually informed the commissioning intent. So we had a good relationship, and we still do. But thirdly, the ability to walk away. I think it's a really good test, and the reality was we didn't have to walk away because they walked away from us. But I think that's to their detriment ultimately. And I think in the scheme of things, it was what it was. I hope there's some real lessons and learning to be taken from this, which might actually ensure that future outsourcing opportunities, such as the one I'm referring to, can be better organised and shaped, which facilitate and enable organisations like ours to participate. And we're certainly trying to use our experience to influence that agenda down the line. How successful we'll be, we'll see. But we've got a good story, and I think it should be of interest to government procurement people and ultimately the Treasury.
Mm. Now, going from one extreme to the other, from those very large contracts to the very small social enterprises, you do quite a lot of small-scale business startups as part of your delivery mechanism, don't you? Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we got excited. As I said, we're a social business, so in effect we're a social enterprise anyway, albeit one that's a charity. But we're interested in enterprise and the ability to invest our resources in business opportunities which create employment opportunities for the people we typically work with, but also, if successful, would generate a return which we could then bring back into the charity to underwrite some of our other ambitious plans.
So give us an example of those businesses.
Well, we 4 years ago we set up a motor retail business called Auto 22 with a proposition based on high quality customer service, which it might be unfair to say this, but it's something that people were saying was missing in the backstreet garage kind of environment. So we had an interesting proposition. In hindsight, we might not have done it from a start-up. We might have acquired a business in the first instance and turned it into a social enterprise. But we set up our own garage from scratch, got it up and running, and then we acquired another one. And it's created, over the 4 years, we've created a number of jobs. We now link it to our apprenticeship programme, and we sell into other garages within the geography, a training programme for their apprentices. So it's a business-to-business proposition as well as a retail offer to the local community. And I'm not going to sit here and claim it's been a roaring financial success. We're still investing in it, but we've been learning from it, and we've decided to invest in it because it's helping us to understand what else we need to do in order to create business opportunities.
That's not the only social enterprise that you've run though, is it?
Last year we took a 50% share in a incubator for entrepreneurs called it's now called Launch 22. The business model is simple. It works on a membership idea. 70% of the members pay a monthly fee to occupy space, workspace, and have access to mentors, business angels, investors, and so forth. And the remaining 30% are scholarship places, and they're designed to reach out to people who might come through our normal programs who are showing an entrepreneurial capability, competence. And so the first one's been going in Shoreditch, and in July of 2015 we opened one in Liverpool. The key for us is making sure that we can fill the 30% of scholarship places, and we're typically targeting young people who might go under the radar, who have enterprising capability. So we do a number of gang programs. A lot of young people involved in gangs are pretty entrepreneurial. So if we can move them into a more legitimate setting, then they might be able to benefit from being located next to a tech startup and accessing somebody who has run a big PLC who's providing mentoring support. So it's a neat proposition.
It's brilliant. Chris, thank you very much.
Pleasure.